So this is box 14. This is the Tea Time Treat gift box. So when Fran designed this one, I took the lid off and then I asked him to put a little box inside so you can put your little treats in there rather than trying to fish right down into there. So it's got this little hidden box in there, which is super cute, and then the lid goes on top. Really nice for somebody who likes that tea time treat. It could be like a little gift voucher for an afternoon tea, something like that would be really nice in this. So we're going to work in sections again, and this is probably one of the more tricky ones, I'm going to say. Not complicated because we're going to break it down, but it's curving card and things like that we need to do with this. So I thought we'd start with the easy bit, which is the lid. Then we'll go on to the tricky bit, which is the spout, and then we'll work our way up from there. Okay, so this is my net. So you can see this is the spout, and then these are the two panels that make it dimensional. And then this is the lid, and that's the handle. So I thought we'll start with the easy bit, which is the lid, and we'll work our way up from there. Okay, so I have put some tape on here and then decided obviously that I'm going to use wet glue instead. So we'll take this tape bit off. And these pieces, the tabs just fold in like that. Super simple. I think even my granddaughter could do this one. Super, super easy. Just put a little bit of glue on there. Use our normal technique of just tapping that glue onto there. And there is a slight curve to this lid, so you almost need, that's probably why I decided to do it in wet glue. So when I've got this bit here, I'm pushing my nail in there, and I'm just, it's a very, very slight curve, but when you come to glue it together, you'll see it, okay? So that's that one there. Then we'll put a little bit more glue on here. I knew there would have been a reason. I'll have done one and thought, oh no, I need to do that with wet glue. Then forgotten that that's what I thought. So then I'm going to push that in slightly, so my nail's going into there. And it is a very, very slight curve, but like I said, when you're building this, you'll notice it. So just, and it does add a little bit of something to the lid. Makes it a little bit more curvy, I guess is the word. And then you just need to make sure that you get your glue right into your corners, okay? Because that's important, otherwise you're going to have a gap. And then just bend that slightly and glue that one to there, okay? Like that. So that's your little lid ready to go. So we'll leave that to one side to dry, and we will go on to this spout. So let's work out together what the easiest way is to do this. I can't wait till we can do this face to face, so we can do lots of classes together again. I have missed you all. So let's take this off here and let's glue this onto there. Now I've got tape going all the way down here, so I've put one long strip along these zigzag bits, and then I've cut in between each piece because I think it might be easier to do it one at a time. I might change my mind in a minute, decide that actually it's not, but we'll start and see where we get to. So what you're going to do with this is fold these down, and you've got to just do, I would say, one at a time, and do both sides so that they're then stabilized and in place. Okay, so the first one is easy enough because that's quite straight going from there to there. The second one, let's get the tape off and see what this one does. And this is why I wanted to do it, you know, not practice it first, because I think that's important sometimes, that you see the thought oh well, that's too late now, isn't it? The whole thing's come off in one. The thought process that goes behind it. So let's get this triangle underneath there, and then we're going to start to bend that spout. So if I show you on this side, I'm going to tuck that down there, and what we're doing is putting a straight edge on a curve, And this is why it gets a little bit tricky. So I'm going to tuck this underneath these, so I'm not worrying about that. And then that will start to curve. Okay, so let's do the next one. Let's put that over there. And then as we start to curve, we're going to do one at a time. So these are on top, and I'm doing that tab and putting this part underneath there so that that's out of the way. I think if you try and do it all in one go, you'll get in a real pickle. So I think it's easier to do it one bit at a time. So they're going to go down. Oh, that's going to go down, and they're going to go over the top. Okay, so I'm pushing that curve into that straight edge, and it's always tricky putting a curve and a straight edge together, but the more you do it, the easier it becomes. So that's going to go in there, and then this bit's going to come off here. That's going to go under there. Curve that underneath like that. And you have got decorative panels for this, so that will cover up a lot of the workings as well. So don't worry if it looks a little bit messy. By the time you've decorated it all up, you won't even know. All right. And then that one's going to go into there like that. And I do think that tape, unless you've got plenty of time to spend on it, and you can wait for each section to dry, and you've got maybe a couple of pairs of, or little pegs, or a couple of pairs of reverse tweezers, I think red liner tape is probably your best bet. And then that's going to go over there, and that one's going to go over there like that. And then I'm not going to worry about this bit until we've got the other side piece on, and they will just fold in. Oh, these bits go out, I think, because they go through the hole in the front. Right, so let's do this other side now. Get rid of that. Now this is going to be the tricky one, because you've got to push these in now, so I might do both of those at once. So taking opposite ones off, try and get this off in bits. There we go. So that's going to go into there. Right, so I think if we fold these up, all the rest of the spout bits up, that might help. So we're going to go, oh, that is a tricky one, that. To bend in there, that's it, there. Just got to push it in, and just, like I say, card is actually really quite, you can really kind of give it a little bit of welly, like that. It's because you can't get inside, so get your tweezers maybe, or your finger, and push that inside, like that. Okay. Just give that tape time to go. Right, so let's take this one off now. Oh, it's all going to come off in one go again, isn't it? Right, let's get these down in here. I'm actually going to try it in just one go. Let's see if this works better. It might just be easier to just go for it. Just curve that slightly as it goes up. And get that round there, that round there, and that round there. Yeah, that is easier, doing it in one go. Okay, so now we know what we're doing. Let's get these bits off as well. This is the fiddly bit, isn't it? Getting red liner tape off. Who knew? Right. So all that lot's going to go in. Took all those down. Tuck that in. just manipulate the card as it goes around there, and then down there, and then to there. Okay, that works. All right, then we've got our spout. It'll take a little bit more time than I did, but that's not bad considering. Right, like that. So that's your spout that's going to go there. And I've got a little bit of glue sticking out here, so I'm just going to try and get those off and just push those down a little bit further. Okay. Push that down there. That's better. There we go. Right, so that's your spout done. That's the trickiest bit probably. That's done there. Okay, so we put that to one side and we've got the lid done. The handle we don't need to think about yet, so we can get rid of that. So now let's do this little box, because this is quite an unusual build as well. So these are your reinforcement bits. All right, so I'm not gonna worry about those, and that's your frame that's gonna go over the top of the box. So then you have this. So this has score lines. If I bring this net back in, you'll be able to see it better. That's your aperture. So this square is your aperture. Your first set of score lines out from there are mounting folds, and your second set here, 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 and here are valley folds. And then once you've folded those, I want you to turn it over, and you're going to put tape in between these two rows of perforation lines. Okay, so in here, like that. So the first thing that we're going to do is take that tape off, and this is where different widths rather of your tape come in. So make sure that you've got a good stash of tape. And have a look, when we look at red liner tape, have a look on the Create and Craft website, because there's quite a lot of brands that bring it to you. So have a look to see if there's a brand that have a deal on at that particular time. Don't just, just search red liner tape and have a look at the different companies and what deal they've got on at that time. And then all you're going to do is push that forward, because you'll have scored this properly. So push that forward like that. And that's the easiest way I've found to glue it down. Okay. And then when we turn this over, these side pieces are then going to go into there like that. But before we put those on, I'm going to put this back onto my net. Now, of course, because we've pulled this in, these pieces are going to look like they don't fit, but they do. It's just because we've shrunk this in. Okay, we've pulled it in and we've stuck the perforation lines in, haven't we? So what we need to do now is stick this bit on so that we actually have a base for the box. So we're going to take this piece off. Like that. And then that piece is going to stick onto there. So I really do think it's worth you having the net on your screen so that you can see what the shape needs to look like. That makes a big difference, I think. So let's decide which the best way is to do this. We'll do the side bits first. So let's take that side off. And put it onto there like that. And then let's put that bit on. And to put that inside there. And then this side in. And put that there. Make sure it's straight. You want the box to go inside the teapot after all this, don't you? And then this one. inside there like that. Okay, and then we want these pieces that are going to slot inside of there like that. All right, so let's do the side pieces first. So one, opposite side. It's easier when it's flat, but I can't put this flat because it's a box. Wow. I think I might burnish this down a bit too well. There we go. Right, so our side pieces can then go in. So let's do this side first. That pushes into... No, let's get both in at the same time. Oh, this is super, super sticky. Right, so if I push them in, and then I can get my fingers in here and push that back. Get rid of that little extra bit that I've got there because that's going to create bulk. Push that in. And then the last one is going to be the trickiest of all. So let's get... Oh, come on now. Play the game, please. There we go. That's going to tuck inside of... I have to bend that slightly, I think, to get that in. So you can see I can really bend this card. You know, it's not going to split, which is really good. And then we've got our little box. And then you take your frame and you glue that over the top. Okay, like that. Right, so that's that bit done. Now let's go on to our actual teapot itself. So you have this net which builds up your, this is your guide, I guess, if you want it to be like this. So we can lay all these pieces out. We've got the front bit that the spout goes through. So I would say we probably put the spout in first. I would have thought. Let's try that. Which way around? I need to get my spout the right way around, don't I? I don't want to do that and then have it the wrong way around. And that's just moved slightly. So let's get that into there. And then that's going to slot through there. So you've got two sides, the two left and right as you look at it like this. Move that out of the way. So I've got the spout coming up here. That's it. The top one and the bottom one, I've got the score lines in to glue that in place. Okay, so let's do that right now. So that I don't forget, because I know what I'm like. And the older I get, the worse I get. I say something and then 10 minutes later I'm like, I just reminded myself to do that and now I haven't done it. Right, so that's going to go up there. Oh, this is some glue there, so let's use some wet glue just because it's quicker. So do our little dab and then push that one back. Okay, so now our spout is in position. Okay, that's good. Right, so let's look at this main body here. So we've got the top, which is where the box is going to slot into, the back and the base. And then we have two sides. Now on the net, it just shows you you've got two tabs. There's actually a third one that joins that to there on the resize pieces, like that. That one goes there, and then your front and your spout goes on there like that. All right, so what Fran said he did, and I'm just going to move this out of the way. I'm going to move back on my chair so you can see what I'm doing, is he said to, let me just move this glass mat for a minute. This is going to be quite difficult because it's on a black table. But he said curve it on your table like that and then turn it over and curve the top section of it, or the, let me show you. So that bit, and then turn it over and curve that bit the opposite direction, and that will give you your shape. So let's see how right he is when we do this. So you're going to curve the bottom part over like that, turn it over, and then start at the top of where you've just curved and pull that bit back. So that gives you that shape. So again, we're going to curve that bit down like that, turn it over and curve that bit up like that. Right, let's bring our glass mat in, and then we've got something to work on top of so you can see. So let's see if this works, Fran. If it doesn't, he'll know about it. So let's stick these two on here first. Now then, I'm going to use this as a guide so that I know exactly where the base is and I know exactly where that goes. So I'm going to use that as a guide, and then I'm going to position that down there like that. Okay, so draw this net out. It's worth it. It's worth sacrificing a piece of white card for, because it gives you a guide to work to. And then that one is going to stick. So I'm making sure that I can see the perforation lines here on there before I stick it down. That's going to go there. Okay. Now I think we'll do these pieces. So now we've got that in place. What we've got to do now is bend this card so that it curves like that. So I'm going to put a little bit more of a curve against the bottom one there. And you've got to pull the side up so that that tab then, that's better, that works. So that's quite simple to do. And then the top one, once we've got the red liner tape off, will also be quite simple to do. So you're making sure that that is lined up at the top, okay? All right, I'm quite happy with that. And then you can just start to curve this a little bit more. It's going to be one of those that you've just got to play with, I think, to be fair. Just going to see if I can get that off a little bit. Just loosen that a little bit more. Just curve that round. Okay, that works. Let's do this side now. So let's do the same thing again. Let's get our red liner tape off there. Curve that round a bit more. Get that one into there like that. And then just pull that out slightly. There we go. And then, whoop, rid of that bit. It's because my tweezers are sticky now as well. I need to clean those off as well. So then we're going to put that underneath there. And curve that. Now I need to make sure that that's flat at the top. Okay, so let's then just go back down. I'm just going to release this one slightly. So having done that now, I would probably do my middle tab first and then work up and down, or down and up, whichever. Okay, so we're starting to get that shape now. So this is the one now where the spout needs to go into. So let's pull these out and let's get this spout attached. So let me do it the middle way now. Let's see if this works better. So I need to curve this. Okay, so let's take the middle tab off here. And while I've still got the tape backing on here, I'm going to line that top one up. And I'm going to push that middle one in. Like that. Just pinch that down there and get that in place, I think. Then we'll do the top one. Let's do the top one on this side. That's the straight bit. And then let's get this bottom one in. This is the one that's the tricky one. So you've really got to bend up against that tab. So that one's going to come over there, tab's going to go underneath, and then bend that bit down. That's easier. Okay. Right, so let me repeat that for you on this side so you can see. So the middle tab comes off first. Oh my word. I'm going to line the top one up so I know that that's straight. I'm going to tuck that underneath there. Line that top one up so I know that that's in the right position. And then that will naturally fall into place. That's good. That was easier. Then we'll do the top one so that we know we've got the stability at the top there. And we know that that's level. And then we're going to curve where that tab is. And we're going to take the tape off this one. This is the tricky bit. A minute, getting the backing off the tape. But I think if you use wet glue with this, it'll be pinging everywhere. So I think it is red liner tape, and you just have to kind of sort it out. Right, I need tape on there. Like that. And then that's going to fold in, and that's going to create the base of your box. So definitely red liner tape for this. Otherwise you are going to be fighting with wet glue and it will get really frustrating and you'll end up with glue everywhere. So let's get some red liner tape on here. The problem is that your fingers stick to it as well, don't they? The warmer you get. I don't know, the joy of crafting, hey? Let's pull the liner off that already. Right, so let's tuck these in. I think we have to do this in one go. So backing's off. And we're not fighting because this then has to curve in from here as well. So let's see what the easiest way to do this is. It might be that pull those bits out for now and get that in place like that. And then these pieces we're going to tuck underneath. And we're making sure that when we tuck it underneath, so I'm going to get my thumb on top and push that down slightly so I can get it underneath without the sticky grabbing, and then push it into place. And while that side's open, I'm going to go in from underneath here and stick that on top, and then I can go in the side and just push that side out. Okay, so bend that down, push that under, then you're going to line the base up with that, press it down, turn it over, and then get your fingers inside and push that tab down. And you might be better just getting the pair of tweezers and going in like that and just adding a little bit of pressure under there. So we've got that base kind of nice and neat now, and then we can go in and put this top part in so that we've got our teapot. This is probably the trickiest one of all of them, so I would make some of the others first. Get a little bit more confident with your box making if you're not already. If you are, brilliant. And then tackle this one. Right, so sides are going to go in. That bit's going to go in because this is quite floppy because you've got a perforation line around quite a thin frame. So you just need to be aware that this is going to be a little bit more flimsy, I think the word is, the best word I could use. So just be a little bit gentler when you're tucking this in. And we're going to push that down into there. Okay. And then, of course, we've got our box that's going to slot in there and reinforce that. This is where you hold your breath and cross your fingers at the same time. And then that box is going to go inside there like that. And then that's going to go over the top. It's one of those moments, isn't it? But you don't want to stick your box down, obviously, because that needs to be able to come out. Okay, we've done it. We're there. And if you put your box in like that and you think, put it in like that, yeah, it works both ways, look. Okay, so we've now got our spout and our handle. All right, our spout and our teapot. Then our lid goes on top of there. So all we need to do then is the handle. So I found it easier to curl this like this. And you could glue that, I think. Let's have a look and see if that's going to work. If we glue that one there and then glue that one there. So let's get some red liner tape on here. Like this, and cut it on that curve, and then let's get some red liner tape. So you need to hold it so you can see the red liner tape needs to go against there, and then you need to turn it over and put the red liner tape onto this part here. Like that. Okay, so let's do this bit first. So we're going to position that, take that box out, and then I've got something to actually hold on to and press into. So we're going to put this centrally there, about halfway down, just on that curve, and in the middle. And then this one is going to come just underneath it, and it's going to hit the bottom like that. So that curve is going to line up with the bottom there. And I would suggest you decorate the handle before you stick it down, because that's going to be easier. So decorate everything else, and then you're going to stick that down onto there. So you've then got your handle. Make sure you don't glue right to the top, because if you do, your lid won't go on then, like that. Okay, so just be aware that you need to leave a gap for your lid to go on, and then glue your handle in place, and that gives you your little teapot. So it's a bit fiddly. I'm not gonna lie to you. It is a little bit fiddly, and you need to just take your time and be patient with it. But I do think that when you then end up with something that looks as pretty as that, it's worth it. Okay, then you can just pour your cup of tea. Right, now then, let me just talk to you about these pieces as well. So these are your reinforcement pieces, or your strengtheners, and these are going to glue on as once you've built it. All right, so what you could then take this side one, for example, curve that, get lots of wet glue on it, and then start at the top and work down, and that's going to cover up any bits and pieces that you've got. All right, and then this one with the square, with the spout, will just slot. So put that through over your spout and then glue that in place, or not. You know, it's not too flimsy if you don't put those pieces on, and it's not going to make much of a difference to the finished look, because you've actually got a white layer and then a patterned layer over the top. So you can use the reinforcements if you want, but I wouldn't say it was crucial to it being sturdy enough to act as a good gift box. Okay, so that's that one done. I'll pop that aside and we'll do the next one.